What's happening, everyone? I'm Jordan, and this is Front Run Tech. And we have a new Bitcoin all-time high that occurred, followed by a huge dump, a flash crash. All right. So, what in the world is going on here, and what can we expect going forward? And I just want to say I'm sorry about no videos over the past few weeks. I have been dealing with a pretty bad stomach virus, so I've been getting over that. But let's get back to work here and let's take a look at the markets. We'll start out here with the Bitcoin 8-hour chart per usual. And of course, we did have this massive move up into a new Bitcoin all-time high, right? Things were looking very iffy on this dump down to about 108K, but Bitcoin did end up putting in a double bottom type of pattern here and had this huge reversal kind of out of nowhere and just shot straight up to a new all-time high of about 126,200. But of course, it was not able to hold that and extend into price discovery, very similar to what we saw on the last all-time high over here. As soon as that all-time high was set, basically we had the reversal back down that was pretty rough. We got the same thing here, only it was a big move kind of immediately on a flash crash. And of course, if you pay attention to the crypto markets, this crash right here, a lot of the altcoins were down 70, 90% in one move, hitting zero on some wicks on some exchanges. So for Bitcoin, it's only about a 10% move. Not much, but it was very significant, all right? And it's significant because it was coming off a break to the all-time high where it was not able to capitalize and move into the next leg. So since then, we saw the wick come all the way down to about 105,800. It is now trying to regain some momentum here in the short term. We'll see if it can reclaim this level. And overall, if we just zoom out and look, it's just still in this sideways consolidation. You don't love seeing the all-time highs being set just barely and not being able to move up into the next impulse. You don't love to see that, but we're just in consolidation still for now. The low, it was taken out on the wick, but this is kind of a scam wick. I'm not putting too much stock into, and this low has been held on a candle closing basis, and this green zone, which is this previous all-time high levels from the end of 2024, that level is still being held, still in this sideways range. What I want to see is I want to see Bitcoin recover to at least 120K this week. All right, that's what I would like to see. But we're just gonna have to keep waiting out this consolidation range, and we've got to be prepared here for a potential breakdown, of course, of this green level. If that were to occur and we move below, say, 105, we could be looking at a much deeper correction, right? 40% correction could take us down towards 85K, right? That wouldn't look very pretty, but you know, it's possible we could get some type of prolonged mini bear um, as we're kind of in the middle phase of switching from the tightening cycle to the easing cycle. Now, overall, the melt up thesis continues to play out. The thesis that monetary conditions are loosening, that cycle is loosening, and the easing cycle has not even really started yet. So this is not the cycle top, I don't think. So, but we could endure some type of further correction and have to wait out some more time. All right, but I would like to see Bitcoin get back to 120K and potentially move back up. Now, of course, this started with the tariff. Trump announcing the 100% tariff on China. We know how the last tariff crisis played out. It was a sharp move down, and this was tariffs across the board. This was the first instance of the tariff scare. People were very scared here, while I was saying right here that this looked like a bottom. And of course, the reversal was strong and set new all-time highs in the markets. All right. So we know how this tariff thing likely plays out. It's likely just a tactic. As soon as the market gets any wind of the tariff being reversed, it's going to explode back up, potentially. So let's just see how it plays out, all right? Let's go ahead and take a look at Bitcoin on the weekly chart here. So, I mean, this is a very ugly weekly candle for Bitcoin, but it is still holding this local horizontal level. And remember, Bitcoin had the breakout of the previous all-time high, basically back tested that, and now it's still consolidating. That is still bullish overall. You also have this weekly candle wick that came perfect touch into the ascending trend line, and it's getting a little reaction bounce, so that's interesting to see. So we're still holding these two levels. You get a breakdown on the weekly of these two levels, and then we really got to start being concerned about a move much lower in the medium term, right? Overall, we're still fine for now. Let's go ahead and take a look at the stock market, as it obviously had a huge pullback as well on the tariff scare. So this is the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ coming off about 3.5% here off the high. And again, if we move this trend line, you can see the breakdown. Another breakdown has occurred. We know how these have gone the past 2 or 3 times. They have been faded. Not the biggest deal in the world. If we go ahead and let's just draw a horizontal level kind of right here. And let's see if the NASDAQ can hold this on a local horizontal level basis, right? If it does break down from this level, I mean, we could potentially see a much larger correction. But again, we'll just have to see how it plays out, right? Let's go ahead and look at the S&P. Pretty much the same look, alright? Also have that trend line, move it. Another breakdown, not the biggest deal in the world. We can draw that same level, draw it like right through here for now, something like that. Alright, and we'll just see how the upcoming week goes and see how the market kind of digests this new tariff on China. Alright, now let's take a look at some of these other things and see what's really going on here. Actually, something important, we need to look at gold Bitcoin, alright? Because we do have a update on the gold Bitcoin chart that is a bit concerning. So, gold Bitcoin had the breakout from the trend line. Last week, it actually failed on that breakout attempt, which was looking very promising. Those tend to lead to pretty big reversals. But of course, this week, gold has recovered that breakout pretty nicely and resumed upwards on the breakout against Bitcoin. So this is obviously concerning. And this is just more evidence that we may have some more time and some more pain ahead when it comes to Bitcoin against gold before we really get to see that new all-time high and that price discovery against gold. All right. We may just have to be patient with that, guys, right? Let's go ahead and take a look at some of these other things. The DXY on the 8-hour. DXY actually has been making a pretty nice move upwards. It did break above this horizontal level that's kind of been this short-term resistance. As you can see, since breaking above the level, it's now coming back in, trying to retest and turn that level into support. So this is a big week coming up for the DXY. You can see over here, it kind of did the same thing, but was not able to hold the level, fell back below. So it's going to be interesting to see what the DXY does at this pivotal point here coming up this week. Let's go ahead and take a look at, of course, we need to take a look at gold and silver, right? So course, these drawings were from my ex post from a while ago, right? Where this thesis has played out pretty perfectly so far, talking about these similar consolidations in the purple and in the yellow, what happened after the break of that consolidation, and that has definitely taken place so far with this first big leg up for gold, and gold was having a bit of a pullback, but on the tariff scare beginning, it kind of recovered and it's really close to all-time highs, very strong, above 4K, right? Gold continues to look absolutely great. Silver. Now, silver has been struggling with, it did break the all-time high, but it's now below it, I believe. But it's been struggling with this $50 area. You see all these wicks up here. So there's a lot of selling going on right here as silver keeps attempting to break above that $50 level and keeps kind of getting rejected. So this upcoming week, we'll have to see if silver can finally break through. Once it aggressively breaks through this $50 level, I think you could see another big move in silver, but we're gonna have to see if it's able to do so. All right. Now, let's go ahead and take a look here at something very interesting would be uranium. All right. Uranium, you can see UEC up 8% on Friday. About the only thing that still performed very well on Friday with the markets having a big dump. Okay. So you can see it did have a big retracement. It was up even more, but it did end the day up 8%. And it's still, UEC is still holding perfectly onto this trend line, right? Take a look at some other uranium things. You could see Oklo up 6.5% on Friday, new highs. Quadruple U up 3.25% on Friday, new highs. All right, they did get affected by the market coming off on Friday, but still very impressive. Uranium continues to be the only thing I see that's really in just a very strong bull market, and it continues upwards. So, all right. MicroStrategy got hit hard, of course. All right. And the thing about MicroStrategy is it's just getting tough at this point to really want to hold this over Bitcoin at this point. Now, it has been in this very long sideways consolidation, right? Since about November, about a year. It's been in this. I'll take all the drawings off. You can see it. Just this sideways consolidation for about a year. Now, that is bullish. That is bullish because this move beforehand was a massive parabolic move. And with these feelings, I'm starting to get about, you know, it just performing so bad against Bitcoin lately. It could be indicative of a reversal coming against Bitcoin, and maybe it's going to outperform Bitcoin coming here soon. Maybe this consolidation range will break soon. All right, this pattern overall is a bullish pattern. It's a downward sloping megaphone. So we'll see how it goes. Now, I personally don't hold any MicroStrategy, but I still like to look at it from the lens of people who do and the overall market lens. And it just continues in this sideways consolidation, all right? So that's overall what we're looking at in the markets for now. Bitcoin trying to recover here in the short term. All right, want to see Bitcoin back to 120K. Want to see how the markets react this week with the tariff news. If we do get some type of reversal from Trump on the tariff thing, you're going to see the markets explode back to where they were. But that's a big if, so we'll take it from there and we'll see what happens this upcoming week, all right? If you guys aren't following me on the socials, please go follow Front Run Tech on X and on Noster. The links for those socials will be in the video description. And all right, see you guys.